All right, greetings. We're going to try to do week one here. I picked four random characters. I mean, not entirely random. Um, I picked the Berserker since his score was currently the lowest on our points per game. The Wizard and the Amazon were sort of random, and then I picked the Magician because he was second lowest. Um, so I picked the two lowest. I picked some random characters. I got the Wizard and the Amazon. So it's Wizard Amazon, Berserker, and Magician. Wait, where's my bits? Okay, there we go. And I tried to set up yesterday. I was live stream failing yesterday, and it seems that Tabletop Simulator broke custom cards. So, and I didn't find that out until I started touching cards, and they were all hovering above the table. So and in a way that made it vaguely impossible to actually work because you couldn't put them back in decks. So it was really clunky. I reverted my tabletop simulator installation for this, and there you go. So this is where we're at. We are set up. Wizards first here. I took Sleep and Fairy Blast as opposed to Sleep and Flame Sword. I'm a big fan of Flame Sword because it splits between Type 2 and Type 4 chits. But we're not going to do that today. We're going to try something a little different. For the Magician, similarly, I have Transform, Control Bats, and Poison. Figure let's putz a little bit. That's a great setup or not here. That's where we're at. Let's set this up. Maybe we'll only do the setup and then do week one in another video um, just to break it up. And my voice is a little funky today, so maybe. And theoretically, I'm running a tabletop game tonight, so I'm going to be talking continuously. So maybe we'll do the setup for sure, and then fire up the actual week one tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, so here's the map, real quick. And I don't know if I'm keeping that. That live stream might be deleted. It was like 40 minutes, and it ended up. I was like, I'm sorry, I had to leave because I can't actually use these cards. So real quick recap. Here's the setup. I don't know how I feel about this map exactly, but I think we lucked out in that everybody has something to get to, right? We can go to the Borderlands if we need to. We can also go the other direction and hit up the mountain and the cliff and the deep woods. The wizard's right poised to get hit to the deep woods. I think he has the better start of the groups here. The order and the soldiers are a little remote, as you either have to go through the caves and the ledges, or let's see, how else do you get to them? The borderland. Obviously, we can go borderland through the nutwoods, through the ruins, and so on. So you're really going through. I mean, the key here, the choke point is this nutwoods here. The funny thing is, you could instantly, someone could, if they wanted full access to the ruins and the crag only, you could shut it down here. The wizard could shut it down. Now, typically, that's not a great thing to do in the quest game as much, only because you don't want to shut yourself off from the rest of the map in case there's points over here to be had. The wizard, of course, can make that choice because all he has to do is flip he has two gray, type 2 and a gray chit to flip, and he could flip this back pretty easily. So he could sort of gate this off, sort of passive aggressive PvP, I call it. Other than that, uh, not too much in terms of clunky choke points. I do think that obviously the cavern's a little bit remote as you have to go through uh, the ledges, right? So it's like every other Magic Realm map. There's places that look close where you go, oh my god, that's miles when you actually like do the loop around. So let's get some events and quests going here. This is where we fell apart last night. Get some quests and events sort of set up, and then we'll see what every character looks like, and end this video, and we'll get another one started here at some point. At some point this weekend. It could be today, and it may be tomorrow. So we're gonna deal 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. We'll shuffle again. 2, 2, 3. Oh, look at that gravity working on cards. Oh my god. Um, and there we go. So for the wizard, what's he looking at? The wizard is looking at sacrifice, which is to take a large treasure and burn it at the chapel or the altar or the shrine. Tiny hut and consult demon. Um, I mean, it's not terrible. So sacrifice. He has tiny hut for the valleys, so he can put anyone in a valley. Does he care about any specific of the? Does he care about any of the visitors? Warlock he doesn't like. It's the only one. So, and then consult demon to think about, right? So for the magician, this is a no-brainer. You get a demon, you get a type 5 spell, you convert a couple of your chits. And I think he could probably, excuse me, he could probably, figure out a chit at least to convert. I'm not sure which one. Maybe something like the gold magic you would convert as a thought, and then you have this black magic spell to cast and so on. For the wizard, I don't know. I don't know what I would convert to magic. It is an interesting point because I do have to think about the idea of converting 2 chits, right? Because usually I go, okay, can convert 2 chits, so I would convert these, and they'd become black type 5 time 5 chits with no asterisks. And I realized when I played the Inquisitor last game, well, you shouldn't have magic chits with asterisks. Those don't work, right? So I don't know exactly how I feel about that. We should either write a custom rule for no asterisk magic chits or disallow them effectively. In which case I would allow you to convert these chits, and then you would just have to turn them into 1 asterisk chits. But the wizard's sort of chit starved in a weird way that the magician even isn't, if that makes any sense. So I'd have to think about that. Nonetheless, he can do the rest of these things. I mean, change of heart is not the worst. Discard one of your quest cards and choose one from the discard pile. I mean, you could sort of game that if the game is sort of late in the game. He could just take a magic 5 chit, not with the spell, but then that would give him access to treasure sites he doesn't necessarily have right now, and so on. So I don't think it's a bad set. I suppose I'll keep it without any alterations. Let's see what the Amazon has here. She says danger sense, which is alert. That is useless for her right now because her weapon doesn't care. Thief and a dwelling in an unfriendly enemy clearing. Company and bash cars are the two unfriendlies. And then steal from them. And then plant your flag, which I like, but it's excuse me, much better early than late. So, like, plant your flag, it's great if you can get to it in the first week. It's also amazingly good if you're solo and no one else is going to draw monsters to that tile. Let me write these for her. So obviously she's going to dump Danger Sense right now and just draw a card. That's a no-brainer. Navigator. Um, do I want to? So I have to keep Navigator because I drew it. I'm going to keep Plant Flag. So Plant Flag and Navigator are 100% here. Now she gets to roll Plant Flag first, so I might drop it. And so I have to think about what Thief's going to look like. So let me roll Plant Flag. Maybe she drops it after she makes this roll. Ruins 3. So we take one of these, we flip this bad boy over, we put it there. This is where she has to plant her flag. You know what? How far is that for her? Where does she think about that? So you would go into here, to here, to here, and get there. I mean, it's not going to be a 1 week. Maybe she gets there week 2. Because the reason you want to get there early is at the end of every week, you get a reward. So if she gets there before the end of week 2, it's 3d6 of gold potentially over the course of the game. Or a couple or airlings, or up to 3d6 rest phases. So, oh man, I mean, so I'm keeping it. That's a really good reward. I'm happy with the addition of that. Thief's a little harder for her because she has to get the company or the bash cars to show up on the board. A lot easier if you have garrisons as your unfriendlies. Navigator can just be a pain in the ass because you end up wasting a lot of phases searching for stuff, whether you care about it or not. So I think let's drop Thief. We'll draw another one. Dragon Slayer. Ooh, see? And there you go. That's a loss. She should not have dropped Thief. Thief is a lot easier for her to deal with than Dragon Slayer. Problem is, she cannot generate enough damage to kill Heavy Armored Dragon. So there you go. There are no heavy unarmored dragons, so that is useless for her. Okay, so I will consider what that means for her in a moment. The Berserker. And that's an interesting question. This paladin asked me, "Hey, why don't you do trading, between characters?" And I said, "Well, typically I don't do it because, then I have to mentally police myself if I'm being fair to all the characters or playing favorites." But boy, I would hand Dragon Slayer for Spider Slayer that would be a nice trade for both of those guys. Not that the Berserker can't do Spider Slayer, it's just that Dragon Slayer is way more up his alley. So the Berserker gets a good draw. Spider Slayer, Monster Lore, and Take Cover, all doable. Monster Lore is great because it gives you a lot more. I mean, it's almost a boon. In that it gives you a lot of flexibility because you can largely draw one clearing of monsters from an adjacent hex into your hex. So you might have monsters where otherwise you're like, well, I can't get to those guys because there's all this other stuff going on in there. Well, you can. Magician gets Rescue, which I do like again. Locate the board, which is fine. and fan club. I think rescue and fan club. Rescue is great because again, it's a pick. It's a pick and choose. You can choose where to put the rescue. That's a big bonus. Locate the horde. I mean, in a four hero match, locating the horde typically is is doable. Fan club is doable. It's a little bit of a slog simply because you have to get to here. Oh, excuse me. Jeez, there you go. 15 minutes in, we did the yawn. I don't know. And do we hate the soldiers? Yeah, we don't like the soldiers, so being there generally is not where we want to be. Um, could certainly keep it though. It's not like it's the worst one. Quests that are a specific location are always great because you know where you need to go as opposed to trying to find the horde, for instance. Again, rescue's good because as soon as a monster thing pops up, you could choose it. Now, the cheat, I'll put cheat in quotes. The cheap move, there you go, is that someone like the magician puts a rescue on the ghosts. That's a rougher haul to do this game because the ghosts are out of the way. Although that's not true. You could go here and the ghosts will prowl to you, in which case the rescue will come to you also. So I think I'm going to keep all those cards because that puts thinking about that means that rescue is on the way to fan club now all of a sudden. So I think that's a little winner of uh, it's not super short in that you're going to have to walk through the Lindenwoods and the Borderland and the Nutwoods to get to the Dark Valley to get your rescue through the ruins, and then to get your Evil Valley or your house fan club. So I think we keep them all. Oops, that's the guard. The top rogue goes there to wait for us, and there you go. I'm going to hold off on investigating rescue just in case monsters pop up quicker and earlier that we could deal with in a better fashion. To that end, I think I'm going to allow the wizard to play Tiny Hut early. We won't do that yet. We'll do that first before as we write day one. I usually play it, put the guy down, give him a quest card, keep it flipped over because you technically couldn't get the card until the next day, effectively. So, all right. So I think that's good for quests. I think we're good to go. And the last thing then would be the 3 events that we're going to see first week. It drives me. I mean, it doesn't drive me nuts, but there's 49 cards in that deck. I need one more goddamn event card to make it even number. Anyway, the miner in the caves. Okay. Well, we'll take the miner, put him out there. That's our first card. King's Soldiers and Magic Gates. So the King's Soldiers is pretty easy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take week 1 and 2. I love the fact these number chits are here, by the way. So for week 1 and 2, the King's Soldiers are active. Last for 2 weeks during this time. You essentially become neutral to the soldiers, or they won't block and battle you either. And you score a VP for giving them any medium or heavy weapon or any piece of armor. Kill a member of the Bashkar, Lancers, Rogues, or Woodfolk. Donate a large treasure. I should actually change that since the soldiers, right, are light weapons also. I should really make it any weapon, frankly. And I'm, you know what? And that there you go, done. Turn over any weapon or any piece of armor to them. Done. We'll just mentally make that note, and then we'll change it later on. Kill a member of the Bashkar Lancers, Rogues, or Woodfolk. Donate a large treasure. You may score multiple VP, but only one per category. So, for instance, you could nuke the Rogues and then take your weapon that you find to the soldiers. Score 2 VP for this card. And with a large treasure and donated 3 VP. So you could get up to 3. Um, there you go. Does anyone even? I mean, the thing is, I mean, something like the Berserker or Amazon could just go and turn it in. The Amazon has to plant her flag anyway. Would they necessarily attack the rogues? So I usually do not. So as a rule, I don't. If you are unfriendly or enemies with a group, you can engage in combat with them. If you're neutral or not, you have to wait to be insulted by them at the very least or challenged. So, for instance, the Amazon right off the bat is not going to attack the rogues. However, that's not true if you make the decision to do this card. You can call it out and go, "Hey, I'm going to do this." You can kill. So the rogues, totally fair game now for anyone who does this. And once we institute PvP, anyone who does this, you could also call out against the king's soldiers, and then that would put you at odds with that particular character also. And those characters can now engage in PvP. So, for instance, the Berserker might say, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to go, potentially be against soldiers. The Amazon might say, I am going to do that, and she might want to fight the rogues, and then the Berserker and the Amazon could engage in combat. And that's one of the ways I think that PvP is introduced. And I do think that ultimately PvP, we will not be lethal. We'll find a way to make it non-lethal and have repercussions for the loser and reward for the winner, but not make it you're out of the game kind of thing. So anyway, King Soldiers, and now we have Magic Gates. I keep digressing. Today's a very digressy game. Roll 1d6. It's either 2 gates or 3 gates. I don't know why that's that bad a chance. I should make it 5 to 6, but we'll stick with it for now. It is 2 gates. Then we choose random clearings, and we get some gates. So 10-6 is a gate. Did I make up? There you go. Gates and gate. So 10-6 is one of the 2 gates. So right in the caves. There you go. Right there. And then the other gate is 9-4. Mountain 4. Where the hell is Mountain 4? Well, that's actually very interesting because that really ties those 2 spaces of board together all of a sudden. That benefits greatly, I would argue, the Magician and the Amazon because as opposed to, if you think about it, right, having to go through 1, 2, 3, so 1 day, 2 days, let's say 3 days, 4 days. Because this trip might have already been 5 to 7 days. Easily 5 to 7 days. Now it's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, maybe 2 or 3 days now. So I would say 2 to 4 days. There you go. So you've turned a week-long trip into a half a week-long trip. So you've halved the time to get there. Easily halved it. And the Amazon even better because that one extra move phase, strangely enough, you don't think about this. But the nice thing about the Amazon is that one extra move phase. So take the Berserker moving through the mountains, right? If he wants to hide, then he is limited pretty much to a clearing a day. Whereas the Amazon can hide and still go two. So you've almost technically doubled her movement in the mountains, which is sort of a fascinating idea, right? It's not one extra phase. It's actually really more powerful than that in certain cases. Same thing with the elf. The elf actually has double movement in the mountains than other characters if you want to hide. If you don't want to hide, not quite as big a deal. Um, but if you want to hide, you're effectively moving twice as fast through mountainous terrain than any other character in the game, other than the Amazon. So that's fascinating. I'm really glad that card came up. Let's do the miner just because it makes the map even that much more interesting all of a sudden. Let's do the miner. So caves 5. Okay. Okay. I mean, again, not terrible. Caves is rough because again, it's not you think it's close, but it's actually very far from everything. But having said that, now with this gate, you could pop there, run through here, get to the miner there. So that is our map. That is our starting situation. Let me save this, by the way. I called the game messed up because indeed last night it was messed up. I think we're going to stop there. And we got some household chores to do here today. I will try to get to this today. Probably a low probability. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's a super high probability. Tomorrow we'll probably do most of the game, and maybe stream some part of it at some point. So no matter what happens, you can guarantee. I'll guarantee this goes tomorrow. Nonetheless, I'm sort of excited about this game. I was a little fussy about it last night. I was like, do I really want to play this, or could I just play Stellaris? But after setting it up and seeing the map and the quests, I can already start to see sort of where people start getting grabbing points, right? So sort of interested, sort of excited to see how this one goes. And that's it. I will talk to all of you probably, like I said, probably tomorrow is my guess. So thanks a lot. Talk to you later. Bye bye.